Hello everyone and welcome back to my weekly videos. My cat Gnocchi wanted to say hi. She's like, no I don't. Get me out of here. She's camera shy. This week we are doing I'm doing a whole bunch of different videos and you get to just choose what you'd like to learn about. So this one, I thought we could talk about birds. Now, for our weekly video, we're going to do garden theme stuff because there is a contest to enter in your art to see if it can be hung up in the garden once it's ready. So, we are going to talk about birds. There are 5x5 pieces of paper near the office that you guys can use for this contest. Okay. There's also 5x4. Max is 5x5. Okay. And they need to be that size so that they'll fit. So, okay, we'll get started. Okay, so if you don't have one of those 5x5 or 5x4 pieces of paper and aren't able to pick it up, you could always just measure your own. You might need an adult to help you. If you need to measure it, I will show you how. Okay, I would use a pencil with an eraser, but I'm going to show you with marker so you can see. Alright, and you'll need a ruler. So when I measure, I like to go towards like the top edge first. And right over on this side right here, we want that to be nice and straight and lined up. And I'm going to go in, I'm going to make a little mark at 5 inches. And then I'm going to do the same thing again on this side with 5 inches. Okay, and this is the part where a pencil comes in even more handy because if you mark the wrong spot and you need to fix it, then you can erase it. So then going in 5 inches right over here, if I can get this to stay, I'm going to make a little dot or a little line, some kind of little mark to say that's 5 inches going in, and then I just want to double check it coming down, make sure, yep, right about there. Okay. Excuse me. So you can't see them like super well, but I have a little mark right there, one right there, and one right over there. Okay, so once you have marked where the 5 inches are, then you can outline it. If I can hold this steady enough. Okay, line going across and up to make our square. Alright, you could even, there's enough space in here for another 5x5 if you wanted to do 2. Okay, so that's how I would mark it. Before you start any of your art on here, you want to make sure that you have your name and your grade written somewhere on one of the front corners. But you don't want it to be big because you don't want to lose, take up too much room because it's already pretty small. You want it to be small so that you have plenty of room for your art. So I'm going to pick one of my corners. Maybe I'll go in here. I'm going to do my first name. I'm not going to do my full last name though. Okay. that's something that you would want to put on the back with a pencil. So on the front, just for like everyone to see or anybody visiting the school, I'm just going to do my first name and then the first letter of my last name. Okay, so I'm going to put a W, Jenny W, and then you also want to put your grade. So like if you're in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, so on, so forth up until 6th. I'm not in a grade. I'm just going to put teacher. Bam. Okay. Pretty small. That way you still have all this room here. Okay, before we draw in that, I'm just going to go in and I'm going to explain a couple different kinds of birds that you guys can draw. Alright, so I'm going to do this part with pencil and just hold it up closer. Because when you're drawing birds, it's nice to have a pencil and eraser so that you can erase any extra lines or mistakes. And then after we draw our bird, depending on what you're coloring with, if you're going to be coloring, we want to make sure we outline it, okay? Kind of like how this is outlined. We need bold black outlines on our art so that it's easier to see, okay? Now, if you're going to outline with like a marker, then I would do that after we use the pencil. But if you're going to outline with something else like a crayon or an oil pastel, then you want to outline last, okay? Otherwise it smudges. Okay, let's see. So there are a couple different kinds of birds you could do, right? You could do a bird that's like sitting and facing towards you, right? Those ones are pretty simple. You go in and you do like almost like an egg shape, where it's like an oval but wider on the bottom and thinner up top. And then you can add in some little dots for the eyes. You could do a little triangle for the beak. Right, you could do curves on the side for feathers and have it be like that. Or you can have them stick out a little ways and then erase those extra lines on the inside that you don't want to see. If you have your bird on like a branch, then after I do my branch, you can go in and add like 3 little lines for the feet. You can have a tail coming down. It's almost like a rectangle shape. Right, and color it in. Let's add another bird on this branch that's facing to the side. Okay, so here I'm going to outline what I just did with a marker so you can, if I can get it open, so you can see what I did a little bit better. Okay, so let's see, I have my eyes, beak, wings. You could even do like a little belly on the inside if you wanted. you can have it go straight across the bottom. You can do like zigzags too. All right. Now for another bird that's facing sideways, right? So you would have, let's see. We will go ahead and we will break it down into shapes. Right, so for the head, I would start with a circle. Okay. You can go in and, over here or on the other side, you could add in a little triangle for a beak. And then coming down right here, it's almost like an oval shape, but it kind of angles to the side. Right, and you can have some feet. This bird's tail would go more out to the side rather than straight down. Give it an eye, a wing. Okay, so you could do a bird from the side. And erase my extra lines. Okay. Ugh. Struggling today. Why? There we go. Sorry. Okay. So, I do my bird, head, wing, beak, body, feet. Let's get that branch in there. And my tail, right? So this one has a little bit of a chin. It's okay. So there's another angle. You could even, if there was like, say there was a bird over here. I should have started with pencil. Shoot. It's okay. You could even do a bird kind of like how we started this one, right? Where it's more like an egg shape, but then you can have the beak at the top, and it's like it's looking up. Away from you, and then the tail would come down on top, so you wouldn't actually see the branch in the tail, right? So if you wanted to do it that way, maybe it's looking at like a fly or something that it wants to snag for lunch. Okay, so you can draw birds from all kinds of angles. Now you can also do birds that are flying. Here, I'm going to set this just aside in just a moment. I'll put it right over here so that you can keep looking at it. If I can, there we go. Okay. And then I will, just gonna grab my tape since I don't know what I did with it. you can also do birds that are flying. So, for birds, never figure out quite how to angle this. Around there. Okay, so for birds that are flying, right, it's like you'd have the head and the beak, kind of like the one that was sitting, except for more of their body would be back behind them. So you could go in and do more of that like U shape and the tail coming out. But then you would add in wings, right? So like this bird would have, if it's from the side, there would be one wing that's closer to us. Almost like one arm is closer, and then the other wing would be further away. I do a straight line for the back part of the wing, and then you can go in and do like zigzags for the feathers, except for usually I don't have them be like super pointy on the ends. And you can have the other one, you know, back right behind it, like right back in here. Or you could have the other one going the other way, as if it's out instead of gliding with it behind it. Apparently my cat Gnocchi really likes these birds. They're not real. Don't go on my laptop. We have a little troublemaker trying to come join us. And then you would just want to erase your extra lines. Right, so that line right there, this line right here, the line for the head, and then between the head and the beak. You could also do like little feet if you want, or little curls, kind of like hooks. Gnocchi. For the feet, we kind of tuck them in like this while they're flying. Okay, so this would probably be more of like the upper grade. Right, the sitting birds are definitely the easiest, but birds are definitely something that I enjoy seeing on gardening or just outside in general. Okay, here, I'll outline it so you can see better what I did. Alright, you want to give it like an eye and stuff. Alright, I'm going to go in and add in like a little eye. Got my beak, my wing. Got my body, the head. I had this other wing that went out the other direction, and my little curled in feet. Okay. So different options. Okay. So I'll set this one aside as well. If you want to, you could do like a birdhouse. You could get fancy or keep it simple. Let's see. we'll put this one right there for you guys to see. I'll bring this back. Okay, so when you are drawing your, whatever it is you're drawing in your square, you don't want to make it super small and have a whole bunch of empty space. Okay, you want to have it take up quite a bit of your square because this is already pretty small, right? And so if we do something really small inside of that, it'll be hard to see, right? So let's see. I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do like a line going across, and I'm going to add in a bird that's on a wire instead of a branch. You got your beak. I'm going to have mine looking up into the side. And I'm going to have the tail come down. And I'm going to have another one next to it. Coming down. Let's see. I think I'm going to alright, this guy is going to need some feathers. That one will have a tail that comes down. And maybe I'm going to have a sun up here. Maybe they're watching for rain. Or maybe they're crows. Right? Don't want crows. So, don't want them picking at my crops. Okay. So if you are using a marker for outlining, do it now, or if you are using, an oil pastel or a crayon, do that last. Okay, but we want to try and color in as much of our square as possible. I would say 2 birds max, because even with my 2 birds, I feel like it ended up taking up quite a bit of space. You can add like the zigzaggy lines, make it look more feathery. I got this other bird coming down over here. Maybe I want to give it a belly and some little feeties and a tail coming down. Put a wire across and make this my sun. Maybe I want to go in and add in like some fun lines around my sun. Some neat designs in my background and take up more space. You could do other things too, like if you want to do like a birdhouse or whatnot. You know what? Maybe I will make this a branch instead of a wire. There we go. Okay. Right, the other thing that's important is to color in. Now, if you end up, having all these extra lines, if you used a marker, you can just go right on top and erase it and not have to worry about the marker. Okay, otherwise, oil pastels and crayons would just cover it right up. You could use colored pencils, but I feel like colored pencils, we want really like bold colors. Right? Colored pencils are hard to get them really nice and dark and bold. So bold, bright colors. So, maybe for my birds, maybe I want my birds to be pigeons. I'll do man, that's a toughie. Do robins. Okay. So when you're coloring, okay, you don't want to just go in and color like this where you can see a lot of white. Okay, because what happens is your color's not as dark and bold. So it's important to press down a little bit harder, just a little bit, not too much. You don't want your crayons to break, right? And to just really color that spot to get more of that white gone. Okay, I'm using crayons, but you could use other things too. Markers are also a good one for helping to get rid of that white. Right, so I'm going to color my birds. You could do different colors for your birds. You could have them be the same color. I think I'm going to make my belly just got black. Make my beaks orange. Okay, I didn't do a very good job of finishing coloring that red there. There's my red. There we go. Here's a bit of white showing. I'm going to fix that up a little bit more. If it helps too, you can always go up and down and then back and forth. So up and down and then back and forth in the same spot, and that can help get rid of that extra white too. Now, if you do end up making your own square, okay, if you want afterwards, you can cut it and turn it in. There will be a pickup box next to the office. Or if you would like to, you could just turn it in as is and we can cut it for you. A lot of times when I'm doing like a sun, I like to shade it so it looks more realistic and 3D. Right? So to do that, I do like the letter C inside with a darker color, like an orange. And then on the inside of that, I go in with a lighter color, like a yellow. And I don't just stop where the orange is. I do them kind of on top of each other. Right? And that can make it look more rounded. You could do like a third one in between those two, like a gold, to make it do it even more. Right. For the background, I like to try and color in the whole background. So all around in my sky, I'm going to try and have that whole thing colored in, and color in my entire square other than right where my name is. You can color over it, especially with a lighter color. But if you're using darker colors, you don't want to lose your name. Okay, so it's good to keep that separate so that we can still read it. Maybe I want to go in and add in some yellows. Maybe I want to add in some oranges. That spot's not really working because I have tape there. All right. You can just add in a whole bunch to your background. You don't have to do multiple colors in your background either. You know, you could always just do like one color, like blue. You could add in like little clouds, those kinds of things. Right, so the biggest thing is that you just want to end up trying to fill in a bunch of that space. Okay, so I just keep going and going. I would color in my branch. Birds, you guys don't have to do a branch if you don't want to. You could do other stuff too. Okay, but at the end of it, I'm not going to do the whole thing on this video because I think it might take too long. But hopefully you guys get the idea. Is we want to have the whole thing colored in. We want to get rid of all that white other than where our name is or in spots where it's supposed to be white. Okay, so there's a couple different ways you could do birds from some different angles. If you have questions, let me know. And I hope you have lots of fun. I'm excited to see these in the garden. Have a good week.